Let's get something straight. Most people have no idea how much emotional power a single intentional gesture holds, especially when it comes to a cat that's been through more than she ever signed up for. Kamala wasn't just another rescue. She was closed off, wary, the kind of soul that flinches before she trusts. But in just 7 days, something shifted. And it wasn't with expensive toys, advanced training, or magic treats. It was a secret so simple, most overlook it. No, this isn't another 10 tips to bond with your cat checklist. What happened to Kamala defied logic, cracked open hearts, and reminded a whole family what connection really looks like. If you've ever thought change takes months, or that trust can't be rebuilt, think again. What you're about to see will challenge what you believe about healing, both for animals and, oddly enough, for yourself. We live in a world obsessed with speed and results. But Kamala's journey is proof that transformation often hides in the quiet moments, an affectionate pause, a cozy corner, a shared silence. And once you understand how this unfolded, you might just rethink how you show up, not only for your pets, but for your people too. Ready to discover what everyone else misses? On the second day after being taken in, Kamala still kept her head low, her body curled like she was bracing for something bad. Then something tiny, almost invisible to the untrained eye, happened. A calm hand reached out, no rush, and a soft voice gently called her name. No forcing, no overwhelming affection, just presence. And that was enough to start cracking the wall of fear. In that moment, the world stopped feeling like a battlefield when she felt that gentle touch behind her ear, followed by an involuntary purr. Something inside her began to shift. It wasn't some Hollywood miracle, but the start of something real. 7 days where a single act of affection became a bridge. It's funny how cats, and let's be honest, people too, don't need grand gestures to bloom. Sometimes all it takes is consistency and a bit of emotional bravery. Haven't we all, at some point, just needed someone to reach out without asking for anything in return? That small daily gesture, always at the same time, on the same corner of the couch, started building a rhythm of trust. Kamala, who used to hide at the slightest sound, began to peek out, curious. Food wasn't the only incentive anymore. Now she waited for warmth. If you want to apply this with a scared pet or even a distant person, remember, consistency plus respecting their pace is the golden combo. A soft reward, like a treat or a kind word, can work wonders in those early stages. And here's the thing, this kind of change doesn't come from cold manuals or random YouTube tutorials. It happens in shared silences, patient gazes, and honest touch. That's the part no one tells you. Transformation begins with the smallest spark, then spreads like roots underground. And maybe, just maybe, when the space itself starts to echo that energy, something deeper takes root. Sometimes all it takes is a nudge, a tiny shift in the environment to spark something bigger. For Kamala, that shift came in the form of a new blanket, placed quietly in her favorite corner by the window. Nothing fancy, just a warm, plush fabric that carried a faint, familiar scent. That's the kind of detail people often overlook, but it makes all the difference. It wasn't just a blanket, it was an unspoken invitation. Within a couple of days, that corner became more than her go-to nap zone. It turned into her safe space, a cozy sanctuary where she'd stretch out, purr softly, and even start watching the family from afar. The magic wasn't in the object, it was in the intention behind it. When we shape a space with love, we're not just decorating, we're communicating safety, consistency, belonging. Want to try it at home? Start by observing where your pet naturally gravitates, then amplify that comfort with texture, warmth, or even scent. Lavender works wonders. By day 4, Kamala began doing something new. She started waiting. Waiting by the window, expecting someone to sit nearby, maybe talk to her, maybe not. That little nook had become a stage for silent bonding, one paw stretch at a time. And honestly, this applies beyond pets. Humans crave those intentional spaces. 2. A comfy chair by a sunny window, a journal nearby, a playlist that grounds you. The point is, when you design for connection, connection shows up. And as the days passed, something subtle but powerful started to unfold. That corner once just a resting place became the heart of a relationship. A place where trust was quietly built, reinforced by presence, not pressure. It's wild how a simple change in scenery can unlock layers of emotion, but when the whole family starts to notice, that's when things get really interesting. By the end of the week, Kamala's transformation had become impossible to ignore. What started as a cautious, wide-eyed cat hiding behind furniture turned into a warm presence weaving through everyone's legs at breakfast. But what really got to the family wasn't just her behavior, it was how she made them feel. There was something healing in her journey, like watching someone slowly trust the world again. And that reflection hit deeper than expected. The youngest child, who had been shy and quiet for months, began talking more often to Kamala, sometimes to herself. One afternoon, she placed her math homework next to the cat's blanket and whispered, "Wanna help me?" That moment, small and seemingly silly, marked a shift in the air. Kamala became more than a pet. She became a mirror, a soft teacher in fur. It's these kinds of connections that no one really plans, but everyone remembers. Even the father, who usually kept to his routine, found himself staying a little longer in the mornings, just to scratch behind her ears and hear that little purr. It wasn't dramatic or life-changing in the Instagrammable sense, but it was real. Kamala's presence started pulling people out of their personal bubbles. They talked more, smiled quicker, slowed down. That's the thing about healing. It often doesn't arrive with fireworks, but with quiet, consistent grace. And just like that, the family's rhythm shifted. They began making time for each other, creating rituals around Kamala's new behaviors, watching her stretch, letting her nap on laps, laughing when she stole a sock or 3. A cat brought home to be rescued, ended up rescuing something and then 2. And if that sounds surprising, just wait until you see what happens when you truly pay attention. What if everything you needed to create deeper connections at home, with others, even within yourself, was already in your hands, just waiting for a little attention? Kamala didn't change because someone forced her to. She changed because someone chose to notice, to show up, and to create space for something better. And if a small act of care could transform her world in 7 days, what could happen in yours? Seriously, when was the last time you paused long enough to make someone or some creature feel safe? What little habit could you start today that might quietly change everything in a week? Maybe it's setting up a cozy nook, maybe it's 5 minutes of undivided presence, or maybe it's just remembering to soften your tone. Think about that. What ripple could you create? And hey, if this story made you feel something, don't just keep it to yourself. Share it, talk about it, apply it. Your next breakthrough might not come from a big life event. It might be hiding in the simplest of daily choices. Want to keep discovering how connection, intention, and empathy can reshape your life? Then hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because this is just the beginning and there's so much more we're going to unpack together.